Cholesterol is a waste substance that circulates in your blood and attaches to proteins there. Your body needs cholesterol to build healthy cells, including brain cells, but high levels of certain form of cholesterol can increase your risk of heart disease. When cholesterol combines with the proteins, the resulting molecule is called a lipoprotein. Low-density lipoprotein (LDL), the bad cholesterol, transports cholesterol particles throughout your body. It can build up in the walls of your arteries, making them hard and narrow and causing arteriosclerosis. High-density lipoprotein (HDL), the good cholesterol, picks the excess cholesterol, takes it back to your liver, which then removes it from your body. Unhealthy eating habits and obesity can raise your bad cholesterol levels. Lack of physical activity can lower your good cholesterol levels. Smoking does both, especially in women, by damaging the walls of the blood vessels and making them more likely to oh my god. Oh my god, my dog in trouble. Reading. 그러면 안 돼요. 왜 그러시는 거예요? 네? 마이크 선생님 그렇게 하시면 안 되는 거 아시잖아요. 가져가세요. 아이고야. 네? 가져가세요. 네. Okay. High-density lipoprotein (HDL), the good cholesterol, picks an excess cholesterol and it takes back to your liver, which then removes it from your body. Unhealthy eating habits and obesity can raise your blood cholesterol levels. Lack of physical activity can lower your good cholesterol levels. Smoking does both, especially in women, by damaging the walls of the blood vessels and making them more likely to accumulate LDL deposits. LDL levels naturally rise with age, making healthy lifestyle habits increasingly important, especially after age 50. There is a genetic component as well. The rate at which bad cholesterol climbs and the ability of physical activity increasing a good cholesterol are partly inherited. People adopting healthy lifestyle habits, physical activity, improved diet, doesn't optimize the cholesterol levels. There are medications that can lower LDL, statins. For extreme cases, there is a product called the lipoprotein apheresis that uses a filtering machine to remove LDLs from your blood. Food labels in the United States and in many other countries and listed the cholesterol content of those foods, but there is no scientific consensus about whether eating cholesterol-rich foods actually alters the cholesterol levels in the blood. And many cholesterol-rich foods are high in necessary nutrients. You do need fats in your diet. They are a major source of energy, and they are necessary for building the myelin sheaths and neuron neurons and for maintaining strong, healthy cells. But not all fats are created equal. The main types are saturated fats found in meats, eggs, and whole fat dairy products. Monounsaturated fats are found in olive and canola oil. Polyunsaturated fats are found in seeds, nuts, and fish and vegetable oils, and trans fats are found in fried foods, microwave popcorn, and some commercially baked goods. Saturated fats are no longer considered an enemy of heart health, but the meta-analysis of 72 studies, tracking 600,000 people in 18 countries, shows no association between a consumption of saturated fats and heart disease. Not now. This is not a controlled experiment. It may be the people in the study who ate saturated fat got more exercise. There may be genetic differences in the way the body's metabolism saturated fats. But the real culprit in their analysis was trans fats, the ones found in fried foods, potato chips, and other junk food. Diets high in soluble fibers are good because the fiber binds to the cholesterol molecules in the digestive system and it drags them out of your body before they get into circulation. Some good sources of the soluble fibers are oats meal, Cheerios, Trader Joe's oats, and barley, and other whole grains, beans, including soybeans and soy milk, high fiber fruit, apples, strawberries, and citrus, the pectin that contains soluble fiber, eggplant, okra, fatty fish, liquid vegetable oils, and nuts. Just 2 ounces of nuts and they can lower LDL by 5%. Diets may have in omega-3 fatty acids as found in fatty fish and seeds, especially chia, flaxseed, and hemp. Nuts, especially walnuts, and olive and canola oils, and also lower LDL and reduce the risk of heart disease by 7%. And soluble fibers, wheat bread, vegetables, and whole grains are also healthy because they prevent constipation and diverticulitis. Okay. The emerging picture is that dietary consumption of fats in saturated ones is not the cause of heart disease, but rather inflammatory processes that cause cholesterol to build up in arterial walls. It is an alpha linolenic acid, polyphenols, polyphenols and omega-3 fatty acids present in nuts and extra virgin olive oil, vegetables and oily fish and rapidly attenuate in inflammation and coronary thrombosis. Calorie restriction. When you have easy access to food and nutrients and your physiological stress levels are low, your genes support cellular growth and reproduction. In contrast, under harsh conditions, genetic activity shifts towards cell maintenance and protection. A number of stressors mediate these reactions, and calorie restriction is one of the most robust. Working in many species and from yeast and C. elegans from mice and primates. For years, I was taught that calorie restriction merely slows down an organism's metabolism and therefore slows down the rate at which cellular damage accumulates. It is now well accepted that calorie restriction triggers a change in the metabolic response, in particular, a downregulation of insulin and insulin-like growth factor IGF-1, as well as an AMP-activated protein kinase and the sirtuins. Molecular biological synthetic can express the significance of this. Slowing aging might seem like an overwhelming challenge, as the decline is so pervasive. So it is noteworthy that when we extend the life extensively of laboratory animals, we do not have to combat individually all the problems of age, such as declining muscles, the wrinkled skin, and the mutant mitochondria. Instead, we just need to tweak a regulatory gene, and the animal does the rest. In other words, animals have the latent potential to live much longer than they normally do. In mammals, insulin levels rise in response to glucose, and these rises may ultimately shorten lifespan. Insulin is necessary for normal metabolism. It helps glucose in your blood enter cells in your muscle, fat, and liver, Right, it can be used for energy. If your insulin levels rise, insulinemia, and stay that way, a host of health problems can occur, including insulin resistance and type 2 diabetes, obesity, immune system suppression, and cardio arrhythmias. Uh, uh, cardiac arrhythmias. Calorie restriction, because of its interaction with an insulin signaling system, appears to be good for brain. Why might be that? Neuroscientist Mark Madden and John Hopkins University says if you're hungry and haven't found food, you better find a food. You don't want your brain to shut down if you're hungry. Some of the neural benefits that are found within fasting also occur in vigorous exercise. The neurochemical changes are similar. Western stimuli, the production of brain deprived the neurotropic growth factors. Fasting stimulates the production of ketones and an energy source of neurons. Fasting can increase the number of mitochondrial neurons, which helps them produce more energy. Okay. There is also emerging evidence that insulin may play a role in developing Alzheimer's disease. This has led some forward-thinking doctors prescribe the diabetes medication and metformin, a blood sugar lowering drug, proactively patient to a family history or other risk factors of Alzheimer's and dementia. Although the evidence for this is scarce, the evidence there is looking promising. A meta-analysis on 3 studies showed the cognitive impairment wasn't significantly less prevalent in people who took metformin, and in 6 studies the dementia incidence was significantly reduced. Metformin was in a further function having a neuroproactive effect. Now, all of these were in patients with diabetes. We just don't have evidence yet for the effectiveness of using drugs as preventative. Has been shown to lower blood pressure and thereby reducing coronary risk, but there is a complex issue. Alcohol consumption is increased risk for primary tumors of the mouth, pharynx, larynx, esophagus, liver, breast, colon, and rectum. It also increases mortality in breast cancer survivors and possibly those with cancers as well. It interferes with sleep and dream cycles, and as we saw in chapter 8, with circadian clocks, and it can be addictive. As with fish oil, a supplementation industry grew out of the need of finding red wines and potential health effects. Researchers identified a chemical in red wine that maybe have read about are called resveratrol. Resveratrol has an antioxidant properties, and in animals in reducing hypertension, heart failure, and ischemic heart disease, and it improves insulin sensitivity and reduces blood glucose levels, and a high fat diet induces obesity. However, systematic reviews conclude that there is insufficient evidence that resveratrol supplements could prevent disease and extend life in humans. Many cognitive and physical benefits are claimed for a number of diets, including the DASH, MIND, and the Mediterranean diet. But there is little evidence to support them. The putative cause of cognitive declines and Alzheimer's and oxidative stress, inflammation of neural tissues, and vascular problems caused by the buildup in harmful substances in the circulatory system. Healthy diet and lower cholesterol and inflammation are a logical approach. But the history of medical science is full of treatments and advice that made sense but lacked evidence, and evidence came in counter the logical advice. The problem is that bodies and brains are complicated. There are multiple interacting factors, and we are really only at the very beginning of being able to understand all of the implications of even the simplest interventions. Protein. Although those absorb protein less effectively and require 0.54 grams of protein per pound of the body weight per day. It's not pure protein. In fact, it probably has less than a half of an ounce of protein. Consider the following. 1 cup of non-fat milk equals 0.3 ounce of protein. 2 tablespoons of peanut butter equals 0.2 ounce of protein. 2 medium acid equals 0.4 ounces of protein. Okay, non-fat milk, 0.3, 0.4. Half a pound of salmon equals 1.7 ounces protein. If you have everything I've just listed, you still be 0.4 ounces short of your daily requirement. Okay. The most effective proteins for all adults are the ones that are rich in amino acid leucine, milk, cheese, beef, tuna, chicken, peanuts, soybeans, and eggs. Leucine is one of the 9 essential amino acids in the building blocks of proteins that we need to obtain through our diet, and it is mainly found in animal proteins. There are competing goals here. Cheese and beef contain unhealthy saturated fats, and a tuna can contain unhealthy levels of mercury, and a chicken can obtain antibiotics, yet they're an effective source of protein. A good alternative for some is 98% lean beef that contains less than 2 grams of fat in a 100 gram portion. Lack of protein can cause serious problems within the brain, muscles, and immune system. We need leucine for protein synthesis and in many metabolic functions. The amino acid helps regulate blood sugar levels, the growth and the repair of muscle and bone tissue, and the wound healing. It enters the brain through the blood more rapidly than any other amino acid, but when levels become too high, leucine toxicity can develop, and it has been associated with degradation in neural circuits, delirium, cognitive impairment, reduction in serotonin levels. Oh, reduction in serotonin levels. Oh my gosh. Leucine toxicity, I experienced it. I have been having a question about this one. And excessive mineral levels in your blood as a result of blocking absorption of other amino acids. You need leucine, but not too much, and so the foods just a little should be eaten in moderation. Tuna sandwiches and everyday at lunch are not the way to go. Basic proteins are a part of the balanced diet. You need help to really in soy products interfere with the sex hormones and lowering testosterone in men, and leading to estrogen problems in menopausal women. Those reports are based on flawed data, and the current thinking is that soy is beneficial for all, except those who are allergic to soy. Hydration. Aristotle wrote that living beings are moist and warm. However, all ages is dry and cold. Aging is associated with declining innate heat and body water. Dehydration is difficult to diagnose. Hydration is something most of us don't think about, but it is essential for cell and brain health. Often if you notice yourself feeling fatigue, this is the first sign of dehydration. Other symptoms include headaches and nausea. Dehydration is a medical condition. It is not thirst. Thirst is just a symptom that may or may not be present when you are dehydrated. Dehydration is deadly. It is the second leading killer of children under 4 worldwide, and the 8th leading cause of death among adults over 70. It's also linked to the formation of kidney stones. Common causes are too much heat or an exercise because you lose salt through your sweat, higher altitudes and illness. Alcohol is also a culprit. It turns off hormones that help you absorb water, so we lose more fluids than normal. Other persons have increased risk of dehydration even when water is readily available to them because the thirst detector in the brain degrade. Individuals at the greatest risk of dehydration include people with a fever or infections, impaired cognitive status, or impaired renal function, and those who take medications that affect the fluid and the electrolyte balance. Dehydration resulted from imbalance of water, salt, and electrolytes in the blood. Electrolytes include sodium, chloride, potassium, and magnesium. Rehydration does not mean simply drinking more water because you are dehydrated. The body can retain the water that you drink, and water alone does not replace any depleted salts and electrolytes. Constipation. As Hippocrates noted, it is a general rule the intestines become sluggish with age. Constipation is one of the most common and annoying problems of aging, affecting 50% of the older adults. As we age, the intestinal muscles help move food along weaken, and contractions are not as strong. Often medication taken by older adults cause constipation as a side effect. Many older adults become less physically active, which also increases constipation. It disproportionately affects women, non-whites, people with a lower socioeconomic status, and those who suffer from depression. When in the world and this is on the brain, clinical observations suggest that constipation interferes with cognition. Only a small number of studies have explored those, and the results are in the preliminary, suggesting a connection. In rats, constipation led to a change in gene expression that could, in turn, affect hemoglobin content and quality. The capacity of the blood to bring oxygen to neurons in the hippocampus and alternation in the cholinergic system of the brain. Okay. And alteration in the cholinergic system of the brain. The humans, an association between chronic constipation and cognitive impairment has been identified. Constipation reports two different problems: difficulty passing stools and decreased frequency of the bowel movements. Both can often be treated by increasing the consumption of insoluble fibers such as whole grains, and vegetables, fluids, 2 liters per day, and exercise, particularly exercise that involving gently twisting or bending the abdominal region, and simply taking a good walk can get things moving. If those fail, laxatives are indicated, and there are two kinds: bulk forming laxatives and omosteric laxatives. Before just going to the drugstore and buying something over the counter, it's important to understand the difference between two. Bulk forming laxatives are undigested. Instead, the fiber can contain a lot usually and retain more fluid. That's why you need to be sure that if you need them, you increase the consumption of fluids. Osmotic laxatives draw water into the bowel from the intestines. Thereby stopping the stool. Okay, stopping the stool. Another thing that can help and it can reduce or eliminate the need for laxatives is probiotics. The bacterial balance in the gut can be adversely affected by taking antibiotics. By changing on diet and exercise, and by normal process of aging, and by a host of factors we have not yet identified. Lining the inside walls of your aging intestine is a layer of mucus that formed by biofilm. Okay. And it provides a moist and a warm environment for the microbiome. The thousands of different species and bacteria in there performing special jobs to keep the entire intestinal community healthy. From there, these bacteria regulate a number of aspects of cellular housekeeping and health throughout the body. The particular assortment of bacteria found in your gut is unique to you, as unique as your fingerprint. It is shaped by genes and culture and opportunity, including what your parents eat and what you eat as an infant or child, and the lifetime influences and the different diseases and stressors that your body has experienced. The microbiome is important for nutrition, digestion, and immune system function. The inside of your stomach and a large intestine is a highly acidic environment. The bacteria that live there had to evolve adaptations to allow them to survive there, but the reward for them is great access to food and not a lot of competition for it. The relationship is mutually beneficial to you and them. There is emerging body of the evidence that the gut microbiome also affects cognition, behavior, and brain health, and this is cutting edge stuff and stories are still being written. We already know that serotonin is an important neuroregulator of mood, memory, and anxiety. It turns out that 90% of the serotonin in the body reside in the gut. Yeah. And it is manufactured by the bacteria such as Candidus, Streptococcus, Candidus streptococcus, Escherichia, Enterococcus, okay, manufactured thereby bacteria such as Candidus, Streptococcus, Escherichia, and the Enterococcus. Gut bacteria had been linked to their mental well-being and depression. People who lack two particular bacteria, Coprococcus and Dialister, Coprococcus and Dialister, and are more likely to be depressed, and those who have normal levels of them report a higher general quality of life. Coprococcus is associated with dopamine signaling, and it also produces butyrate. Producing a butyrate, a fatty acid that is an important anti-inflammatory agent increasing inflammation, has been linked to the depressive symptoms. The gut microbiome can become out of balance, leading to a condition called dysbiosis. The most commonly known cause of dysbiosis is taking prescription antibiotics for an infection. This can kill not just an disease causing bacteria but beneficial gut bacteria as well. Dysbiosis can also be brought by unhealthy lifestyle behaviors such as irregular eating times and high-fat diets. When we are younger, the effects are so subtle we don't notice. When we are older, the effects can be debilitating. Misbalance in the microbiomes is suspected to be involved in obesity and a number of diseases, including cancer and Alzheimer's. Such as infants being separated from their mothers can have a lifelong effect on their brain's stress response. Early life stress can also have an influence on the composition of the gut microbiome. The composition is affected by mother's diet and stress levels and by travel through the birth canal. Children who are delivered in a cesarean section via cesarean Caesarean. No, Caesarean. 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 Okay, okay. Caesarean section show reduced diversity of the gut biome in animals. Stress caused by the separation from rhesus monkeys and from their mother changed their microbiota and decreased their bifidobacterium and lactobacillus levels. Rats separate from their mothers should decrease fecal lactobacillus levels. The full external gut-brain interactions are still not, but linked between these interactions and an imbalance in the microbiome has been implicated in mental disorders as diverse in autism, schizophrenia, ADHD, bipolar disorder, and multiple sclerosis. A credible, though still unconfirmed view is that the imbalance in microbiome during infancy and childhood can lead to these conditions and a decrease later in life. But that doesn't mean that the conditions are irreversible. Probiotics contain foods and supplements can introduce or reintroduce beneficial bacteria into the gut. These can affect certain physical functions such as increasing iron absorption, protecting against parasite absorption, and distribution of fat around the body. They have been shown to be especially effective treatments for irritable bowel syndrome, a disease that disproportionately afflicts all adults. But where it really gets interesting is the effects the probiotics can potentially have on cognition, emotion, and behavior. Small-scale trials have shown that in single probiotics, Bifidobacteria infantis can alleviate depression and anxiety, and a cocktail of Lactobacillus Hepaticus and Bifidobacterium longum can reduce cortisol levels. Probiotics has been shown to have a positive effect on mood and the brain's emotional centers. And emerging evidence suggests that eating more fiber promotes gut health and microbiome balance. In the United States, they are not regulated by FDA, and so quality can vary dramatically. Prebiotics. It's difficult to be informed consumer when these factors are rarely tested before probiotic products goes to market. Prebiotics taken together, cardiovascular disease, stroke, cancer, and diabetes account for approximately 2/3 of all deaths in the United States, and more than $700 billion in direct and indirect costs each year. If dietary changes can reduce the incidence of this disease, it will have a truly significant effect on world health. The professional organizations that represent the researchers and clinicians who treat these diseases, the American Heart Association, the American Cancer Society, and the American Diabetes Association, published a joint statement of dietary recommendations. They concluded simply the high intake of fresh fruits and vegetables, whole grains, and fish is associated with the reduced incidence of all these diseases. Hunter-gatherer societies whose lifestyles are similar those of their ancestors. He found that he generally exhibited excellent health in spite of their following wide range of diets. It doesn't matter if they get 80% of their calories from carbohydrates, or from animal fat, or from nuts and berries. Almost all eat more fiber than average American, but that is about the only difference. This takes a lot of wind when a paleo diet. Interestingly, They don't shun sugar, consuming it in a form of honey. Notably though, they don't have access to processed foods and deep-fried foods. Fonda's research is consistent with that, and many other scientists find that there is no one best diet. There is no one best diet, and that we can be very healthy on a wide range of diets. Fonda notes that one reason hunter-gatherers tend not to have obesity is the lack of variety in any given individual hunter-gatherer's diet. When you have a lot of food choices, we tend to overeat because an variety of flavors is enticing. It's the reason you always have a room for dessert at the restaurant even when you're full. There is a related movement called intuitive eating, developed by registered dietitian Evelyn Tribble. It has been associated with reduced body mass index, reduced cholesterol, lower blood pressure, and improved psychological health. Diets don't work because they are based on the restriction. The big idea of intuitive dieting is that your body knows what kind of food you need, that it has an intuitive drive toward the protein, carbs, and fats you can trust. Or perhaps it's a trillion of microbes in your gut that send a signal to your brain and generate an intuitive drive. The 4 additional principles in intuitive dieting are: 1. Try to eat when you're hungry. 2. Try to stop when you are no longer hungry. 3. Learn to cope with emotional alternative forms other than eating. And 4. Place no restrictions on the types of food, either unless for medical reasons. Now, like me, you may be skeptical about your body knowing what foods you need. It just doesn't sound scientific. How do you distinguish intuitive eating from a decidedly maladaptive craving, such as wanting to eat a pint of ice cream every night? First, this kind of binge eating is often spurred by desire for emotional comfort, an attempt to relieve stress and anxiety by eating traditional forbidden foods, such as those high in fats and sugars. It results in a high level of shame and regret, not to mention weight gain and microbiome imbalance, and it feeds in a vicious cycle. In contrast, intuitive eating involves a reframing of eating for physical rather than emotional or social reasons. Thus, knowing that any food option is on the table, so to speak, makes you less likely to binge eat in the forbidden foods. Proponents of intuitive eating, such as Malloy Freyon, talk about cultivating a less obsessive, healthier relationship with food and allowing the body to experience a healthy variety. In moderate amounts of all foods that are available to us, and all of this should be informed by good sense and the knowledge that although you might consume that once in a while, the chocolate cake and onion rings in a diet is not good long-term strategies for optimal health. Much of the attention is popular press and about what we eat isn't on the so-called superfoods such as blueberries, acai, kale, and sweet potatoes. But these approach ignores the nutrients and all metrics effect. The way in which the food is in real food, optimal diet interact with one another. Often, you can try to feed a particular problem within creating another one, and that's an essential issue in nutrition journalism. There is often a narrow, focusing on only one aspect of nutrition, or in one health outcome, and while ignoring another. The key to diet seems to be not what you eat, but what you don't. The American diet is too high in processed foods, sugar, salt, and red meat. Junk food is addictive. It stimulates the brain's reward system, which evolved in an era when fats and sweets were hard to come by. Apart from that, the fact is, We just don't know enough about nutrition to say that there isn't a single best diet. As a report on the state of nutrition advice that Stanford University noted, the history of nutrition science is littered with remains and hypotheses, that were once unexpected. At present, what does seem to be clear is that large amounts of refined sugar, deep fried foods, and heavily processed foods are unhealthy. Apart from that, eating a variety of different foods in moderation and eating more vegetables than the average American currently consumes and all appear to contribute to longevity and health. Reducing the use of tobacco and alcohol is also indicated. Exercise. The obvious one is an oxidation in blood. The brain runs an oxidated glucose carried in hemoglobin in the blood, and the fresh supply of oxygen is good. Every minute you walk on an unpaved trail, whether in park in the wilderness, requires you to take hundreds of micro adjustments to the foot pressure, angle, and pace. These adjustments stimulate the neural circuitry of your brain in the precise brain in the precise way that it evolved to be used. The area that is that most stimulated is your hippocampus. The seahorse-shaped structure that is critical to memory formation and retrieval. This is why so many studies show that memory is enhanced by physical activity. This way of looking at things is known as embodied cognition. The idea, the physical properties of the human body, particularly the perceptual and the motor systems, play an important role in cognition, thinking, problem solving, action planning, and memory. And this way of thinking, the sensation of movement is movement is inextricably bound with knowledge. Embodied condition is consistent with this Boston developmental cognitive neuroscience approach. It sees humans as embodied, ecologically and genetically embodied social agents who shape and shape their environment. The body influences the mind, just as the mind influences body. Embodied cognition puts intelligence and control out in the body. The best example of this is in a spring ligament and the arch of the human foot. Spring ligament. This dumb little spring eliminates the need for massive feedback control circuit and the brain to give the toes a nice little push-up during walking. Okay, I see. And although basic characters surely exist, and the most successful intellectual are those who embrace the physical, and the most successful athletes are those who embrace the intellectual. A systematic meta-analysis showed that for adults with a mild cognitive impairment, exercise had a significant benefit effect of memory. Adults with a mild cognitive impairment have a considerably increased risk of progress in dementia, and this specific risk is increased by atrophy of the hippocampus. Physical activity may be just as effective in pharmaceutical agents in improving and maintaining memory as well as in global cognition and delaying the onset of dementia and other neurological diseases such as Alzheimer's and Parkinson's. Aging is an irreversible and inescapable process, but the effects of aging are in some cases reversible, and if not completely escapable, at least subject to delay. There are many factors under our control: diet, gut microbiota, social networks, sleep, regular visits to the doctor. But the single most important correlate in the vibrant the mental and physical health is in physical activity. This doesn't mean that other correlates in diet and sleep aren't important. There are, and it doesn't mean that if you engage in a moderate physical activity, you do need to follow in other healthy practices. What it does mean is that you might want to take this seriously, particularly if, like many people, your attitude about getting activities, I'll start tomorrow. I'll start tomorrow. It's important to respect your body limits and to consider age-related factors. Although listeners should check with the doctors and work with a professional trainer to determine what kind of movement is right and appropriate for them. If you can run marathons like a 92-year-old Harriet Thompson did, that's great, but you may find you get substantial benefits simply from lifting 5 pounds 3 weeks in your bedroom and walking around in a block in a slightly faster and comfortable pace. Looking at memory movement embodying the cognition as being irrelated helps to explain one of the biggest mysteries of the human memory, infantile and childhood amnesia. Although children, even before they can walk, are able to explain the space around them, it appears to the onset of walking triggers a neurochemical activity in the hippocampus, promoting the hippocampal plié cells and the choroidal cells, and begin to internet mapping of the environment. Those hippocampus space and memory systems might atrophy, use it or lose it. As the professional athlete said, the central lobe hippocampus plays in general, not just in spatial memory, can additionally account for other cognitive impairments and often seen in less active in older adults, including decrements in the reasoning, hand-eye condition, and the problem solving as well as in general cognitive slowing. First is the loss of detectability, in which comes in general slowing down of the nerve transmission speed and loss of conductance and the reduction in the eye and coordination. Second is the loss of motivation, which may be born in the isolation and the feeling of loneliness. Third is the loss of joy and pleasure at doing things for oneself, partly owing to reduction in the production and untaken dopamine, the brain's reward chemical signaling channels. It's important to take an honest and fair assessment. A large part of the story of people who manage to stay young in spite of their chronological age related to the synaptic plasticity, the ability to the brain to make and form new connections. As we've seen, plasticity influenced by the genetic makeup, your lifetime experiences, and the culture in which you live. It is also influenced by your daily routines, especially as you get older. The act of transmitting information across synapses and the forming of new synaptic connections requires a dramatic increase in the amount of energy used in the brain. Astrocytes, a type of brain cell, serves and supplies of the energy. The mounting body of evidence shows that a physical activity increases in effectiveness in astrocytes and thereby enhances in synaptic plasticity, memory, and overall cognition. In addition to synaptic plasticity, cognition is maintained and enhanced by neurogenesis, the growing of new neurons. As we saw in the memory chapter, the adult hippocampus grows in 700 new neurons per day on average, and there is no symptomatic decline within a normal aging. Physical activity has been shown to increase in hippocampal neurogenesis in rodents. It's not possible to observe any such changes in humans, but we have observed improvement in memory for human adults who engage in the aerobic physical activity. Most effective is to engage in aerobic exercise just before learning something new. When you get your heart rate up and just prepare a mental task, you prime the brain with an increase in blood flow, which creates an enriched and setting for the mental activity. Different kind of physical activity confer different benefits. Physical activity can be categorized as either aerobic and anaerobic. Define aerobic activity as any activity uses large muscle groups can be maintained continuously and rhythmic in nature. It includes swimming, cycling, running, dancing, and walking. It's called aerobic because aerobic means living in the presence of oxygen, and these activities leverage the body's ability to use oxygen to extract energy from carbohydrates, amino acids, and fats. Defines anaerobic activity as a physical activity of the very short duration, fueled by the energy sources within the contracting muscles, and independence of the use of inhaled oxygen as an energy source. It includes things like strength, weight training, and short distance running. Aerobic activities in a kind that reduces risk of heart disease, promotes kinds of cognitive functions we've been discussed so far. Anaerobic activities can help to build muscles, encourage and enhance an ability to withstand fatigue, and decrease body fat. It can also have a small beneficial effect on the cardiovascular risk and a lipid profile. Sarcopenia is the loss of muscle tissue similar to the whose osteoporosis is bone. Sarcopenia. Loss of muscle tissue. It is linked to contributing a functional decline and the loss of independence in older adults. So it's not just an endurance or blood oxidation. Maintaining muscle strength is essential as well. So return indoor fitness, although embodying cognitive says that interacting with the environment is best. Avoiding sedentarism is crucial. Although she is 79 years old, who engage in indoor aerobic training should increase in brain volume in frontal and temporal corticals, as well as in a larger white matter tracts. Okay, even a little bit physical activity can be transformative for the brain health and longevity. Time efficient works out like HIIT, provide an alternative, one that majority of the participants find far more enjoyable. Small changes not in members. The story gets better yet, even the tiniest and barely measurable amount of the physical activity improves in brain function, not as much as the him mentioned previously, but it is significant and it matters. The very largest improvements we've seen for reducing risk of cardiovascular disease and diabetes and improving memory come not from moderately active people who engage in the more systematic intense program, but from the sedentary people who engage in a very minimum of physical activity, even just getting up and walking a little. Movement activities are particularly helpful, indeed essential, for individuals who have cholesterol conditions called metabolic syndrome, increasing blood pressure, high blood sugar, excess body fat around the waist, and abdominal cholesterol and the tranquilizer levels, with a substantially increased risk of heart disease, stroke, and diabetes. One of the problems with exercise is that, like with dieting, people start out with overly ambitious plans that are difficult to maintain. The majority of people fail to follow through with their disciplines because they lose interest or find it boring or too difficult to integrate into their daily routines. For those who are out of shape or thought of going to the gym may be intimidating. It is a fact that in the gym industry that large proportion of people who take out of the gym membership and end up not using them. This is one of the reasons that in many gyms are required to pay for an year in advance. This was a kind of navigation of the brain's fault to perform. This was a kind of a body and cognition, strengthening synapses and rejuvenates hippocampal memory systems, motor action planning system, and eye-body coordination. Outdoor, anything can happen, and that's the most important when keeping the brain flexible activity that we have far discovered. Sleep, memory, consolidation, DNA repair, and the sleep hormones. How do you stay so mentally fit? Sleep. He said without missing a bit. 9 hours a night. 9 hours every night. Sleep is restorative. Sleep is restorative. While you're unconscious of what's going on around you, possibly immersed in the world of dreams and weird thoughts, your entire body and brain chemistry change. Cellular repair and cleansing mechanisms kick in over time. When the healing and fighting off in bacteria and viral infections increase in intensity, it's only recently that we've begun to appreciate the enormous amount of cognitive processing occurs while we are asleep. Consolidation of the memories takes place, alongside the problem-solving, categorization, and the emotional processing. The neural and cellular basis of deeper sleep has been called sleep drive. Neuroscientists still don't understand where the drive comes from, but it can be conceptualized in the hormonal pressure that builds up during the waking hours and dissipates during sleep. We didn't know that there is chemicals in the brain that leads us to feel sleepy. Somnogenic agents such as melatonin and adenosine, and the gradual accumulation of them creating a homeostatic pressure. Consistent with the kinds of individual differences we look at in chapter 1, people regard sleep differently. Some look forward to it, and some see it rather neutrally, as a necessity such as brushing your teeth, as don't give it much of an effect in it, connotation one way or another. A third group sees it as something avoided at a cost, for as long as possible. And looking forward to sleep, can there are some who, just like because it is pleasant, it feels good, who find a great source of inspiration and creativity. Was it as much in a profound upending of the neutral order as it was in a huge technological advance? The first step passed to an current age of a screen addiction, over long workdays, over long work days and sleep deficit, and the first step in tricking nature's pineal gland into the thinking was in the daytime, but it was not. The first thing in the messing within a current of biological clocks, and the first step is creating a separate generation of artificial light and creating insomniacs. Many have claimed that climate change, obesity, and access to clean water are greater threats in public health, but even serious comes in at number 4. It is a serious threat, and the one that each of us and each individual can do something about directly. First, we electrify the night. We electrify the night. Light is profound decorator of our sleep. Second, there is the issue of work. Not only the progress and breadth between when you start and finish, but longer commute times too. No one wants to give up time with their family and entertainment, so they give it a sleep instead. And anxiety plays a part. We are lonelier, more depressed in society. Alcohol and caffeine are more widely available. All these are enemies of sleep. We have stagnated and sleeping in labor of laziness. Humans are the only species that deliberately deprive themselves of sleep for no apparent reason. Sleep deprivation can occur in two primary ways. It can be either an insufficient duration or insufficient quality. That is, you may sleep 8 hours a night, but for various reasons you may not pass through a requisite states of sleep, or you may not stay in each of them the ultimate amount of time. You may think you're asleep when you're not, or if you have a sleep apnea, you may be waking hundreds of times during night without realizing it. Healthy, productive sleep allows the body to engage in cellular repair mechanisms, normal cellular housekeeping in the immune system responses, and helps us in process difficult emotions and replenish our energy levels. One of the functions of sleep is to process the most emotionally intense experiences in a previous day, to separate the facts from our feelings so that we can reach a conscious active view of things. The other reason for doing so is so that emotions themselves can be entered into and stored in memory. It is the value of being able to access memory based not just in a particular time or in a particular place, which we can all do, but also in a particular emotion. All the experiences that we had in the beginning humiliating, for example, can be bound together through emotional memory in order to help you extract the patterns and hopefully modify your future behavior. Sleep deprived people showing 60% greater activation in their amygdala during their waking hours than those who are not sleep deprived. Because the amygdala is a part of the brain's fear circuit and there is known to trigger aggression, anger, rage, and this finding highlights the relationship between sleep deprivation and emotional regulation. When your mom told you that you weren't crabby, because you didn't get enough sleep and she's probably right. The act of living a stay awake and going out in the business leads to the building of toxin in the blood and the brain. Cerebrospinal fluid circulation throughout your brain and spinal cord, and it clears away toxins during the series of channels and like waterways that expand during sleep, although none gets cleared away while you are awake. Why all this happens better during sleep than during awakeableness is not fully understood. Too little sleep, or perhaps counterintuitively too much sleep, impairs problem solving, attention to detail, memory, motivation, and reasoning. A U-shaped distribution has been uncovered. U-shaped distribution. U-shaped distribution has been uncovered and is showing that in people who sleep less than 7 hours a night or more than 10 hours and the increased risk of hypertension. Similarly, sleep duration of less than 6 hours and more than 9 is associated with increased and prevalence of diabetes and impaired glucose tolerance. Poor sleep duration or quality, as well as too much sleep, also increase in stress and allostatic low, the cumulative effects on stress over time. If you haven't frightened you into taking sleep seriously yet, sleep deprivation is not strongly associated with Alzheimer's. Alzheimer's disease occurs when a certain kind of a protein, amyloid, builds up in the brain, where it forms clumps and collected between neurons, which is to disturb cell function. During proper restorative sleep, these amyloid deposits get cleaned out of the brain through the action of cell spinal, cerebrospinal. Okay, cerebrospinal fluid, cerebrospinal fluid. Okay, cerebrospinal fluid. When you are sleep deprived, either from a short duration or poor quality sleep, these amyloid deposits don't get cleaned up, and they tend to sensitively attack the region of the brain responsible for sleep, which then makes it even more difficult to sleep, and consequently more difficult to clear out the amygdala noise, and the vicious inner sleepiness, memory killing cycle. And it doesn't happen when you're in a chronic sleep deprivation. It started published the week I first derived in a paragraph and showed in evidence from past scans that amyloid amyloid flake in deposition of the brain after only a single night without sleep. Under a protocol, participants may be managed in a sneak and short cat naps during the night, but nurses were vigilant, checking on the memory through the night and waking them if necessary. The artist most impacted by sleep deprivation were the hippocampus, memory, and the thalamus, control of the sleep-wake cycle. It is becoming clear that lack of sleep, particularly a chronic lack, can lead to Alzheimer's disease. If you want to lengthen your health span and a better quality of living Edison. Resetting your sleep cycle. You sleep in roughly 90-minute cycles, comprising stages that are neurochemical and electrophysically distinctive. You probably heard of the two kinds of sleep, REM and the non-REM. REM stands for rapid eye movement sleep, the time when you're typically dreaming. Non-REM sleep occurs first and in 4 stages, with increasingly deep sleep during which the frequency of the brain waves slows down. Dreams helps us to work things out, to let thoughts that are too dangerous and insane and distressing having safe haven in our minds, while other bodies are temporarily paralyzed, preventing us from entering these dangerous real-world situations. A small proportion of the people don't experience paralysis during their dreaming. Sometimes it is the drug-induced. The sleep medication Ambien has been associated with sleepwalking, sleep eating, sleep driving, and a number of disturbing accidents and crimes, including at least 2 murders. REM sleep helps us maintain emotional balance, and a lot of what happens during REM sleep is simply random neural firing. There is no particular meaning. Non-REM sleep is when our memories in the previous day are consolidated and linked with the previous experiences. If you meet someone new at a party named Mary, your brain, without instructing it to do so, and without your conscious awareness, will recall her face and gestures and link them to the things that she said and to her name. It may link to other people you know who reminds you of her, and other people named by Mary. While we enjoy non-REM sleep, our brain tools and turn over the experience of the previous day or two. If you stayed up all night and making connections between those and similar past experiences. In order to do that, the fine motor and muscle movements that you make today need to be integrated in the neural level within what happened on previous days. For lifelong skills and many years and decades and worsen the neural traces and become linked to the new ones. Sleep does this. acetylcholinine levels drop during a non-REM sleep, and then return peak during REM sleep, helping to prevent outside inputs from disturbing your dreaming. Acetylcholine is an also important chemical that mediates memory consolidation. If reduced in the brain or delayed, memory can be impaired for 7 days. Melatonin and acetylcholine levels trade-off with norepinephrine. Norepinephrine levels during sleep. The former two reaches a peak at bedtime, while norepinephrine, a neurotransmitter responsible for action and wakefulness, is decreased. norepinephrine 있잖아요. Passing through non-REM and then REM sleep as often as sleep cycle. A creative gets done during such cycles, and it appears that we need 5 or 6 times of the reason of full restoration. How do you know whether you're getting enough sleep unless you've got a certain medical condition or take medications that cause fatigue? A simple rule of thumb is that if you can't wake up in the morning without an alarm clock and you feel sleepy before lunch, either you are sleep deprived or, as we saw in chapter 8, your circadian clock is misaligned. To determine the personal amount of sleep needed and find a 2-week period when you can afford to experiment, a period during which you are not under a particular stress or deadlines, and when you have free evenings and no late night dinners. Try to avoid alcohol and caffeine, or if you mustn't have caffeine, try to limit yourself to 2 or 3 servings a day, and not within 7 hours in bedtime. Sleep in a darkened room where sunlight and want to disturb you in the morning. Then just go to sleep when you're tired and wake up when you feel like waking up without an alarm. Keep a log of your sleep and wake times. If, like most of us, we've been sleep deprived for some time, you need to pay back your sleep adapt. Near the end of the 2 weeks, however, your body should have settled into the rhythm, and you should be able to wake up without the alarm, feeling refreshed. Sleeping and aging brain. We've seen aging is typically associated with reduced ability to adapt to the environmental changes, impairments in perception and normal physiological functioning, and increasing susceptibility to disease through reduction in immune system efficacy. The time course at which all these changes become noticeable varies from person to person, but it's rare that someone in 80 hadn't noticed these changes, and many people notice them after 55. It's not surprising then that changes in sleep biology accompany aging as well. The cause of sleep disruption in older adults include decreasing amplitude of the circadian rhythms generated by the SCN, the timekeeper in the brain that maintains the circadian rhythms, the degradation of the neurosignaling in the aging brain, and the impairments in the melatonin production. More than 40% of people over 65 report sleep problems. Nighttime sleep is often interrupted by frequent awakening. Sleep fragmentation. These interruptions become more frequent in the early morning hours, and it can become more and more difficult to get back to sleep. With increasing age, the essential slow pace and sleep stage, a phase in non-REM sleep, is reduced, and the early night sleep, REM sleep increases. Restless and lax syndrome, urge to move, and one sex and while sleeping is common in adults, and this results in increase in sleep fragmentation. Disordered breathing, including sleep apnea, is also common and related to the decrease in lung capacity, obesity, loss of pulmonary control, and the reductions in thyroid function. Sleep disturbances causes memory loss and some physical and psychiatric illnesses, including depression, and increases the risk of neurodegradation and mortality. The problem is that although sleep requirements remain the same as we age, and as our ability to fulfill them decrease. Although those are more likely to take naps as a way to compensate for poor nighttime sleep quality. Naps can compensate for poor night's sleep, but it's best to limit them to 20 minutes, or it can suffer from sleep inertia. Your body may want to stay asleep and long nap and making it groggier. Okay, make you groggier than a short one. You may have read news reports showing that the naps are associated with an increased risk of cardiovascular disease, but there is conflicting evidence on this point, and more research needs to be done. The problem is that most studies don't control for the duration of naps or the amount of night sleep that people are getting. So the studies combine different group of behaviors and a hard to draw and firm conclusion. Insomnia comes in many forms, and inability to get up, get to sleep, and inability to stay asleep, poor and inefficient sleep quality, and their annoying cousin, daytime tiredness. As Matthew Walker notes, the past 100 years of industrialization have interfered with sleep around the world as extended hours of artificial light. And more recently, the blue light from computers, tablets, and phones destroy a melatonin generating system in our brains. If you're going to follow traditional folk and wisdom to read a book when you have difficulty in sleeping, don't read an electronic device and image in blue light. It can reduce the melatonin by up to 50%. Hypersomnia. Hypersomnia is an opposite of insomnia. Oh, hypersomnia. Insomnia. Okay, hypersomnia. Sleeping too much is me. Some unfortunate people can have both at the same time, where by then sleep too much for a day or two, then stay awake for a night or two, repeating a cycle. Such a cycle is unhealthy and often fueled by drugs and alcohol and caffeine. Hypersomnia can be resolved with degenerative neural disease and depression, or it can result from a more organic cause of increase in sleep fragmentation among older adults. Multiple awakening during the night can lead to poor sleep quality, with an faster restoring the homeostatic balance in sleep-wake cycles, and so our bodies create more and more sleep. Similarly, obstructive sleep apnea causes sleep fragmentation and can lead to hypersomnia. One common cause of hypersomnia is drug use, and particularly benzodiazepines such as Valium and Ativan, anxiolytic medications, antipsychotics, antihistamines, and the antipyretics. The relationship between hypersomnia and depression is complex. Depression leads to a modulation of brain chemistry that could cause us to want to sleep more, yet sleeping more even in the absence of depression. Alters the balance of wake-up chemicals in the body owns and outbursts, and so can lead to depression. And the depressants and antidepressants often have a paradoxical effect. Instead of motivating a get up and a go feeling, many people are impelled to lie down and sleep, and sleep and sleep. Remember David Anderson's warning: your brain is not simply a bag of chemicals. Introducing what seems to be desirable change in brain chemistry, such as increase in serotonin or norepinephrine availability, can have unanticipated consequences. Focusing treatment for hypersomnia involves slowing and removing the prescription drugs and may be causing excessive stimulation of avoiding alcohol and resetting your sleep cycle. When that doesn't work, modafinil or aromadafinil of awakening generally safe is tolerated well and helps to maintain daytime wakefulness without causing jitters, nervousness, and sleep difficulties at night. Okay. Menopausal symptoms last in 7.5 years on average. Oh, 7 years? Wow, 7 years. And for some symptoms last significantly longer. Sadly, among these vast symptoms, which include night sweats and hot flushes, and vaginal dryness. These vasomotor symptoms can be direct cause of sleep disturbances, or sleep disturbances can occur independently from any of the variety of factors already mentioned, but not definitive. Reports of risks associated with hormone therapy, including increased risk of blood cancer. Yes, we need to individualize therapy. 이게 정말 it is the most important thing. We need to individualize therapy in those women with the symptoms, with a view that in a young, healthy woman, we probably have a comfort circle and a role for the hormone therapy prevention may at least be entertained. Special problems of men with the aging man undergoing a kind of menopause called andropause, concomitant with reductions in testosterone levels. This can lead to hot flashes, night sweats, and enlarged breasts, loss of strength and memory impairment, depression, cognitive decline, changes in sexual function, and disruptions in sleep. Whereas in a woman, menopause means an end of fertility. This is not in some men, who may remain fertile into the 80s and 90s despite reductions in androgens. These quality of life issues are very personal and difficult to sort through without professional guidance. Like the confusion within hormone therapy for women, the best advice for men is to educate yourself and consult with a doctor you trust. Caffeine disrupts sleep, but not in everyone. 맞아요. Yeah, that's true. Not for me. Okay, so clearly affecting people differently, and entropy geneticists have determined that genetics play a role caffeine metabolism and tolerance, and they have begun to identify some of the genes through studies of twins. On average, caffeine increases in sleep latency. The amount of time it takes people to fall asleep after lying down and deciding they want to sleep. It also reduces the total sleep time and the quality of sleep. Caffeine can reduce melatonin secretion levels by 30%. Caffeine also shortens in stage 3 and 4 sleep. Oh! Stage 3 and 4 sleep, the most restorative phase. Oh, that's what like this? No, I don't think so. Caffeine also shortens stage 3 and 4 sleep, the most restorative phases, and the reason in amplitude of the slowing wave in delta and brain activity. Delta wave activity is a reliable indicator of how much sleep need you have, because caffeine blocks adenosine receptors and attenuate delta waves. Sleep homeostasis could be affected meaning that in cues in the body normally uses and go to sleep and stay asleep are disrupted in a molecular level. I mentioned melatonin in chapter 8. Here's a little bit more about it. Melatonin is naturally occurring hormone in your body, secreted by the pineal gland during the dark hours of the day, typically in a couple of hours before bedtime. It is also produced in other parts of the brain. In the retina, it is believed that it has a protective effect on the photoreceptors in bone marrow. It functions as a scavenger of the free radicals, yes, scavenger of free radicals, and it enhances an immune function, reducing an oxidative damage and protecting against an iron overload and deterioration in these highly vulnerable cells. In the gastrointestinal tract, melatonin helps and protects against disorders, and is being used experimentally as a treatment of gastric cancer, reflux and esophagitis, and peptic ulcer, ulcerative colitis, and intestinal ischemia, reperfusion. The American Academy of Sleep Medicine recommends in times of the melatonin supplements to promote adaptation to new time zones and goes help in individuals having trouble sleep for other reasons, such as an age-related disturbances in a sleep-wake cycle. Melatonin is taken in the mid-afternoon in conjunction with avoiding blue light will advance in circadian clocks and causing the body to think that at night time hasn't come early. The effect is somewhat mild and certainly not as powerful as in a sleep pill, but for many, this gentle nudging of the clocks is often promised sleep. As the Johns Hopkins University sleep researcher Louis Villeneuve says, your body produces melatonin naturally. It doesn't make you sleep, but in a melatonin level is rising in the evening, it puts you into a state of quiet wakefulness that helps promote sleep. Melatonin levels in the blood are highest in a young age, 55 to 75 milliliter, and are starting to decline after age 40, with a fast decrease in 5 from 6 years of age onward. Research is very low levels in the elderly, 18 to 40 milligram. New research suggests that melatonin may have productive effect against many cancers, which may be part of the reason that is in people age and melatonin levels go down. They are more susceptible to cancers. Sleep hygiene. Given the time-dependent nature of their hormonal release schedules and that are governed by circadian clock, what is the most important thing about sleep? To go to bed at the same time every night and wake up at the same time every morning. Although few of us live this way in our 20s and 30s, by the time you reach 65 or so, you may begin to notice that inconsistency has been even more punishing. Even a slight changes in the schedule, staying up an hour later than usual, for instance, can affect your memory, alertness, and immune system for a day. To maintain his mental acuity during the last 25 years of his life, he was in a fast season about going to bed and waking up at the same time every day. Starting getting ready to bed and 2 hours before sleep time. Stop watching TV using a computer, tablet, or a smartphone or other sources in blue light. Okay, and ensure that the room you sleep in is completely dark. Sleep in a cool room if possible. Help you keep your sleep and awakening cycle synchronizing properly by getting a sunlight in the morning. Write in a journal before in the bedtime. Recent research shows that it helps you to relax and can improve memory. Okay. The new longevity. The application of part 2 are relatively straightforward, guys. to better aging. The topics in part 3 are more complicated. Mostly what I hear about longevity, quality of life, and cognitive enhancement should be confronted with skepticism, but there are many bright spots. No, we can't live forever, but we can live longer than ever before. We can stay active well into the 90s and beyond, and make valuable contributions to our world. And now, playing computer games won't save you from Alzheimer's, but read on and wise reader. We scientists talk about an age, we are not talking about chronological age, because there is a wide variety of ways that people age. Cellular clock that programs in our deaths. Human lifespan. Scientists study interaction between genes and the environment, and to some extent culture. Blue zone. Most people living in blue zone have more following in common. They're typically active not during very endurance training, but during chores, gardening, and walking is an integral part of their lives. They move a lot. Their lives have a sense of purpose, but in doing things that they find meaningful, they have a low levels of stress and a slow pace. They have a strong family and community ties. They follow a varied diet with a moderate calorie intake, but mostly based on the plant sources and high quality food. Now, all this is appealing because it is consistent with what we know about their healthy lifestyle, but Blue Johnson and not evidence that will work. Genetics versus environment. There's an old saying that if all you have is a hammer, everything looks like a nail. Geneticists look for genes that recur in the family patterns that appear to come from certain behavioral or in physical predispositions. The problem, though, is that not everything that runs in families is genetic. Consider French speaking, which doesn't run in families. That's because in a concept called assortative mating. When selecting a mate, most of us tend to be most comfortable with someone who isn't someone like us in terms of physical attractiveness, intellect and sociability, and other traits. The means is we are choosing people who possess some genes similar to ours, even though we are not closely related. What this all means is that culture and environment, the healthy lifestyle changes you make, and are more important than genes in predicting how long you will live. An obvious exception is if you have a gene that strongly determines a vital disease. Genes and families and shared homes, neighborhoods, and access to education and healthcare and culture and cuisines. Worms in FXO and insulin, but genetics isn't just about what traits are inherited. Your genes play a daily role in coding in protein sequences and instruct your body. Everything is just to keep you healthy and alive. Everything can interfere with gene expression or replication accounted by longevity. Yeah. Earlier I mentioned in a protein FXO, which seems to contribute to cellular renewal in the hydras. When those FXO proteins are prevented from functioning, the hydras start to age, which doesn't begin to unravel the role of FXO in humans. We all have FXO genes, and in fact, there are several different kinds, but the way they behave may be different across individuals and across a lifespan. It turns out that the people who live to 90 or 100 have a certain form of FXO that others don't. Cynthia Canyon was able to double the lifespan the worm C. elegans in manipulating FXO, which in turn activates a number of cell repair and fortification mechanisms that normally decline with aging, and cells through the cells have some kind of a clock them. The reason winding down and affects the reverses it. Cannot explain it is said. But get this, under conditions of stress, affects sends out a signal that starts activating the mechanisms that improve the ability to cells and protect and repair itself. Adding 2% of glucose in a bacteria diet of C. elegans completely reverses this lifespan extension, highlighting the importance of role of insulin in longevity. The biology behind human childbirth may also hold clues in aging. Before an egg is fertilized, there appears to be massive bursts of cleansing in which an egg is swept in a clean of age-damaged, deformed proteins. Oh, Hayflick. The Hayflick limits telomeres. We now know that many gene mutations and other interventions that increase longevity also postpone age-related diseases. It was accepted in the wisdom that human cells would continue to duplicate indefinitely. It was only the oldest cells that had stopped dividing, while the younger ones continued to divide. To rule out the possibility of contamination, he put all cells and the younger ones in the same glass bottle. It was only the old ones that stopped dividing. He subsequently documented that limited human cell division was in between 40 and 60 cell divisions in the replication. DNA copies a cell only in finite numbers of times, and normal cells and cancer cells must have the method to circumvent these mechanisms. Researchers later found that in a Hayflick limited caused by a shortening of telomeres, the disposable protected cat ended at the end of each chromosome. Telomeres have been linked to the plastic tips and ended of the shoe laces and edgeless that keep from unraveling, but it's a bit more complicated than imagine that your job is to record a music performance. You need to record from the first note, but you don't necessarily know when that note will be. What you need is a buffer, a kind of. The larger the transcription factor that copies DNA know that is in time to start transcribing. The transcription factor misses in a few sequences in each time there is a replication, making the telomere a little shorter each time. Thus when the telomeres get too short, cell division, and it does a cell repair, and the renewal stops. When DNA cells stop dividing, you don't die immediately. The human body has a run in 10 trillion cells, each carrying DNA, although it's well established. The people with a short telomere die younger than people with long telomeres. One leading hypothesis is when telomeres shorten, the cells stop replicating, they enter a state of senescence and begin to come up the works. Telomere length is mediated by the number of factors. Remember, conscientiousness, the propensity in the planful, reliable, and industrious, and adhere to the social norms and tolerance to delayed gratification. Really? It turned out that a child with conscientiousness predicts an telomere length 40 years later, as shown in the Sherlock Holmes and her colleagues. Exercise associated with increased telomere length and remediating the negative effects from stress. A diet of whole foods is associated with an increased telomere length, whereas processed foods, especially hot dogs and smoked meats and sweetened beverages, are associated with an decrease in telomere length. Now, all kinds of stress in the children telomeres in the short term, manageable stresses are actually good for you because they keep you challenged and giving a repertoire and coping skills, strengthening cell during the process and called hormesis. This is described as anything a low dose of helpful but in high dose of toxin. Other examples of hormesis is an ultraviolet light. You need some stimulating pinnacle and synthesized vitamin D, but too much causing skin cancer and cataracts. And a vitamin A, you need a small amount in normal development and an eye function. But too much leads to anorexia, headaches, androgenesis, and an altered mental state. The kind of stress in an insurance telomere is in long-term chronic stress. In particular, long-term caregiving for family members, job burnout, and serious traumas such as rape, abuse, domestic violence, and bullying are damaging to telomeres. And in general, it takes a long period of stress before your telomere are damaged, and months-long crisis at work probably isn't enough. But when stress is enduring, defining feature of your life, that's when telomeres work get shorter. As we've seen, as theme throughout the successful aging, an important motivating factor is in relationship is the stress and telomere length is your response to stress. If you develop a good method in coping, and then you can stay calm and find reasons to be happy, your telomeres may not take a hit at all. Some people approach difficult events and can do all attitude or bring it on mentality, seeing these events as a challenge and an opportunity to learn. Other people keep in the desperate. The physiological response in a sudden stressor is that your adrenal gland and the release of cortisol. In short, first, that is a good thing, and the homeostatic response is to increase your energy. Mindfulness meditation, a kind in a favor than a Dalai Lama, increasing activity in telomeres and the length of telomere.